The power of the purse compels you. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's excellent to have you here as always, and thank you for watching. You're watching the VSO Gun Channel. I'm going to tell you really quick to go check those subscription notification settings. There's been some tomfoolery lately, and we know those settings are getting screwed around without your knowledge. So make sure that censorship isn't bleeding through all over you. That said, we have some movement on the anti-gun control front. So we have some movement in the House of Representatives. So set the very high level here. Most of the infringements that we see happening today occur in the executive branch, usually executive agencies directed by pushing unconstitutional measures onto you. Think like pistol brace rule, right? And then most of our fight that we talk about is the super slow method of going through the courts, the judiciary. Well, today we have some movement in the legislature, specifically the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives is where all of the budgets are written. So it doesn't really matter what the executive does if he does not have the buy-in of the House of Representatives, because it won't get funded. And that's exactly what the House of Representatives under the new Speaker of the House is doing.
It's clear that you came to ATF with an agenda, I believe, to infringe upon good law-abiding Americans' rights. And you're going to turn them into criminals with this regulation, and you seem to have no remorse about it. I'm out of time, and I yield back.
With respect to,
I didn't ask you a question.
Gentleman yields back.
Specifically targeting stuff that we care about at the ATF, particularly enforcement of the of multiple provisions of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, in huge air quotes. Now, there's a whole lot of rhetoric being thrown around with this. Of course, you expect it to be. All of the articles are seething leftist drivel, but what they're specifically targeting are really three things. As far as the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act are concerned, the thing that will probably impact the majority of you is going to be that whole ban on private sales thing that we covered ad nauseum here. Also, looking at the process by which the FFL revocations are occurring, and trying to impede that process. That also affects you if your local gun shop closes because they made a clerical error. Well, that definitely impacts you, and it reduces the overall number of FFLs. And obviously, lack of competition in that space is a bad thing, right? That's why your transfer fees are like $25 or less in most locales. And then the one that is probably still a sore spot is enforcement of the ATF's pistol brace rule. Now, I have a vested interest in not sending you over to any of the establishment mainstream media platforms. You're not going to want to read that crap anyway. But what I will send you over to is the primary source that I'm using, which is the webpage of the Appropriations Committee itself. You can go over there and read the bullet points. That's what I have gone off of on this one. And it does have a link through to the full text if that's something that you want to torture yourself with. I did not do that to myself. I do not expect you to do that to yourself either. However, the question is, well, Kurt, what do we do? This sounds like something we ought to do something about, right? Yes, and that is that you should contact your representatives in the House of Representatives and say, good job. After you pat them on the back, tell them to pass the damn thing. That's precisely why these news articles are trying to whip everybody up against what I would say is finally some common sense movement from Congress, is because they know that they have a little bit of time to shift the public opinion against that sort of thing. And you need to counteract that. Is scheduled for a vote later in the month. So we got a little bit of time on this for you guys to spool up that support. Let them know that you want them to vote for that thing because they are important to you. Be respectful, do all that sort of stuff. And we'll have a link also over to where you can find your House of Representative member and tell them to vote for it. It just takes a couple minutes. And that's what I would say my call to action today is. Thank you very much for tuning in. And you know what? I forgot to film a sponsored slot. So I guess we'll just throw it on here at the end. Thank you guys for tuning in to the VSO Gun Channel. And hopefully we'll see another one here in relative short order, provided they don't pull the plug on me.